Hello, everyone, and welcome to another round of Data Talks around Data Innovation Summit for this year. Today, I have the pleasure to talk with Aleksandrs Gehsbargs, who is Director of the Games Data Science at Product Madness. Alex, thank you for finding the time to do this interview. Can you tell us more about yourself and organization you work for? What are your professional background, but at the same time, what's the current working focus?
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm Alex. My surname is quite complex. It's Gehsbargs. Yes, I lead basically I lead product data science team at a company called Product Madness. Well, I'll explain what we do. Product Madness is a company which operates free-to-play mobile games. So free-to-play mobile games are probably, as we all know, these are the games for mobile phones, and free-to-play means that everyone can download and install. So there is no subscription. You don't have to, as a player, as a person, people don't have to pay to play. So it's for free. And our main goal is to basically operate these games. So to attract new players, to do marketing campaigns, to do improvements in the games. That's what we do. So high level, it's like a retail. We're just selling entertainment to a lot of people. That's about the company. So my background is really academic, by the way. So I studied a lot of mathematics, CRMs, proofs, all that stuff. But then after a couple of years, I realized that that's too academic for me, and the more applied mathematics are much more appealing. And I ended up in machine learning. Was a first natural sort of step. I spent probably like 10 years doing a lot of machine learning. For those who don't know, machine learning is about like predictive modeling, predicting whatever is needed in the business about, in our case, it would be players. But then several years ago, I transitioned to, or moved to more like a statistical modeling, A/B tests. We'll talk about A/B tests more. I'll explain what it is. More like a heavier data analytical role, and I'm still there now.
Interesting journey, I have to say.
Yeah.
So that's why the topic that you will talk about at the Data Innovation Summit this May in Stockholm is Statistic in the Wild, How to Keep Calm and Carry On. What the delegates at this event can expect from your presentation?
Yeah, what can they expect? I think the main thing is to understand or learn how to use data science to build, design, and improve products. It will be more, of course, about like our free-to-play gaming world, but in general, it's about retail. So how to design, build, and improve products in retail settings using data and science.
Interesting. And you share more about the company at the beginning, but can we know more, especially what led the company to use these statistical methods for free-to-play mobile games?
Yeah, how did we end up where we end up? So the mobile gaming market is extremely competitive. So hundreds and thousands of games are developed each year. And a lot of companies which develop the games, they have very big marketing budgets, right? Because today it's not enough. It's not enough for, let's say, you as a developer to develop a very good game. You need a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars to reach people. But still, there are a lot of companies in the industry which have a lot of money and big budgets, and the market is extremely, extremely competitive. At the same time, we are, by the nature, we are all digital, right? So we have a lot of, basically, we have all information about all the actions, clicks of our players, right? We don't know who, of course, we don't know who these players are, right? We don't know names, surnames, etc. We do not have this data because of the ethical issues. But still, we know everything about the behavior, and the combination of, we know a lot about the behavior of players. And there is this massive, massive pressure to be competitive. Basically, we need to innovate all the time. We need to all the time, we need to find something new and interesting. And this combination of these two things obviously leads to necessity and requirement to have very good data science teams, those who can help and support innovation.
This was very insightful. Did you need to do any changes of processes or other changes that you figured out that need to be done when you were trying to apply these new methods in practice?
Yeah, of course. So I'll start like more or less where we end up, and I'll try to explain then how we got there. Like what are these necessary steps? So yeah, as I said, the market is extremely competitive, and we need to use a lot of data. And basically, what it means is that there are always people on the kind of on the business side, business people who run the business, who are like they're this absolutely great and smart masterminds of the business, right? So it's especially cool in gaming because there are a lot of people who run the business who are passionate about the gaming. They have a lot of interesting and brilliant ideas, and they can drive the business. But they face several problems, and one problem is that they can have 10 ideas or like 100 ideas, and they need to choose out of these all ideas two, and then to test it. And that's the next question. Is like, okay, out of all these great ideas that we have, we need to test these two, and how do we do it? How do we test? Because we need to. There should be something tangible, some sort of evidence which would help us to say, oh, that's the best thing, and we'll give it to all players, and our players will enjoy it. So there are these problems which needs to be solved in the business industry, which means that there are these, as I say, absolutely brilliant people in the business who they know the games, they know the players, but they need the support from like a data science or from more like statistical analysis point of view. They need a lot of support, and that's where we need to end up, right? We need to help these people to work together, and that's kind of where we need to be and where we ended up. To get there, the first important thing is obviously collaboration, right? So as this very smart business gurus have ideas, and there are people on the data science who can help them and support them, we need to put them into one room, and we need to help them to work together. I would say this is the first step, if that makes sense, to foster collaboration, to help them to work together so that they are they know that they exist and they do together great things.
Interesting. And makes sense. Beside this good team, having a good team and fostering collaboration, are there any other resources that are needed for an organization to succeed in using statistic or analytics in especially this mobile gaming industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So the one thing which really comes before collaboration is hiring. So it's very crucial to find people on the both sides. I mean, like data and business on the both sides who are the right people for this sort of environment. On the data science side, the main goal is to find people who are like these curious scientists in the wild. And for us, it's not even important that people have technical backgrounds, right? So if someone has, of course, like a degree in statistics or mathematics, that's good. But it doesn't really matter, because if someone is coming from whatever it is, psychology, sociology, and they're interested in using data, and they're interested in kind of understanding, in this case, behavior of players, that's amazing. So for us, it's important to find this kind of curious people who want to understand how the world works in general and how these things are. Like in our case, that's the right people to find. On the business side, it's very crucial to find people who are data driven, right? People who know that great ideas are great, but there should be evidence to measure success, right? Because, for example, oh, I have a great idea about the feature, I run this feature, but there should be evidence about how this feature works. And we need to find this kind of people on the business side who are data driven. So the first step, coming back to your question, the first step is hiring, right? So we need to hire right people, then, as you say, foster collaboration so that they become thinking partners. There's this very good idea it comes from Nancy Klein. She wrote a very good book called Time to Think. It's about that. It's about how to help people to think together. What are the things needed to be done? So, and then they think together, data scientists and business people. There are other next steps, which are more technical ones, which are on the statistical side or data science side. But again, it's quite straightforward. Those are like processes and tools. which needs to be in place. Processes is basically guidelines. So the goal is to provide guidelines to people about how to do and not to do statistics. And it's not a rocket science. So there's talking about the books. There is another very good book which was written 70 years ago by Darrell Huff. It's called How to Lie with Statistics. And basically what I mean that this information about like do's and don'ts in statistics, it's well known. It's been like 70 years ago. And this guy, Darrell Huff, he was even a journalist. He wasn't a statistician. So about the processes is just like guidelines, so that for data scientists, these like what to do in terms of statistics becomes like a muscle memory, right? Because this raw statistical analytical things, they're not the goal. It's just it's a tool to get there. And which also, by the way, gets me to the tools, because then we need to create a tools for data scientists so that they can do very quickly analysis that they need to do. Tools means that like there should be a tool to do A/B tests. I'll explain what they are, or a tool to do some statistical analysis, or a tool to create some charts, right? Because things which can be automated should be automated to make things faster. What I was planning to say, A/B tests. So A/B test is a very simple thing. It is when we take in our case, we take players, we give, and we have two ideas. We give one treatment to one player, another treatment to another player, groups of players, and then we compare results. And all this kind of terminology of treatments is coming from pharma industry, because these A/B tests were ran in pharma industry when we tested two versions of the drugs, right? So this terminology of treatments is coming from there. But the idea is very simple. We have two ideas. We give one to one players, another to another players, and then we just use statistics to compare results. Yeah, so I would say like high level, the answer is we need to people. So it's people, processes, and tools. People is hiring and collaboration. Processes are very, very good guidelines, and tools are the tools so that a data scientist can spend time to think, not to write some code to get some statistical results. So there should be a tool. You click a button, you get a report as a data scientist, and then you can together think with a mastermind from the business. It's just like, what does it really mean?
Yeah, I hope that everything that you share will be found as useful for those that are listening to this interview. And back to the product madness journey with these new methods of work that you applied, did you face any challenges during the developing or implementing of the methods of work?
Challenges, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not easy. The biggest problem, and we still face this problem sometimes, is change of the mindset. Probably that's the best way to put it. Because for quite often for people in data science, they're used to getting results as like a table with numbers, or like some sort of chart, right? So they're used to getting to these results and stopping there. But that's not how it works. There is a good quote by American statistician Andrew Goodman, that the numbers are where the discussion should start, not ends. So the numbers are where the discussion starts. And it's sometimes it's very difficult to change this mindset of data scientists. Is that like, yeah, cool, you know statistics, you did some cool statistical interesting analysis, you get some sort of posterior distributions, but that's where it should start, right? You should get to this posterior distribution, and then you need to start to think about what it really means. And it requires a change of mindset for data scientists, and it takes a lot of time to help them and support them to get there. Same also on the business side, because quite often people on the business side, they're used to the fact that there is someone on the data side who gives them a dashboard, and all the thinking is done by these business people. And for them, also it requires a change of the mindset that the data scientist is someone who should sit with them in the room from the very, very beginning. So at the very, very, very start of the project, there should be a data scientist, a business person, maybe some BI engineer or like a data warehouse, but data scientists should be in this room from the very beginning. And for quite often for business people, it's just something new. They're not used to it. And they also need to change their mindset to understand, okay, like that's how it works. The last one, which is this is more in a way more fun. I like to say that what we do when people sometimes during interview when we are interviewing for the roles, they asked me if I can describe what we do, and I'll tell them that like doing data science in mobile gaming is like running through the jungle with two machetes, carving your way through the machetes. You're running all the time, and you're just doing this all the time. So it's a very, as I said before, it's very competitive, very hectic, very dynamic environment. And also sometimes there's also a challenge for people to, as I say, keep calm and carry on, because it's very, the priorities change quite a lot, the things change quite a lot, the processes change quite a lot. It's very dynamic environment, and also that also can be a challenge because people sometimes need a lot of support in terms of keeping them running. If that makes sense. Yeah, that's it. I would say that's it. Yeah.
Makes sense, and very good points you emphasized there. But can you emphasize some of the benefits for the company today after overcoming all these challenges throughout the journey?
Absolutely, benefits. Yeah, benefits are that the if all that starts to work, at least at like for 80%, then the products that we develop are better. They're more appealing to players because we use data to make more informed decisions. Mistakes are not made, right? Because talking about the masterminds, so they often say a very good thing, like the business people who drive the business. They say very one good thing. They say that to get extraordinary results, you need to test extraordinary things. But then we say, and these extraordinary things sometimes come with extraordinary risk, right? So the other thing which this kind of collaboration between data science and product helps is to lower this risk, not to test things which are potentially extremely risky. They can be extremely profitable, but they can be extremely risky. So yeah, like lowering risks, launching features which are appealing to players, and also the other big benefit is that data science, they feel involved, they feel part of the crew, and basically we put them on forefront of the everything, and they feel also very engaged. It's also very good that these kind of data teams, they become drivers of the business, and people feel extremely motivated because they feel that their opinion matters and they can make a big impact on the processes. I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, good to know all of that. Thank you for sharing that. And can you share any final recommendations for everybody that's interested in this topic based on all the lessons learned through this journey that you had and Product Madness had?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest recommendation is to keep calm, carry on. It takes a lot of time to build. It depends on like who this recommendation is directed at. For people who are in like management or leadership positions, I would say, yeah, it takes a lot of time to build these processes. It takes years. So yeah, I would say keep calm, carry on. That's fine. It's a long way to go. Yes, people say that it's not a sprint. People say it's not a sprint. It's like a long journey, right? We're running a marathon basically. For people in the sort of like mid-level or senior data scientists, I would say the best thing that they can do is to try to talk to people in the industry, to go to conferences like the one you are organizing, so that to know what's going on, what are people using, to listen to podcasts or to read books or to watch YouTube videos, whatever works better for people, but to try to get more and more information, because then it helps people to understand what is interesting for them and what works better for them, to sort of shape this individual views of all the data scientists. Does that make sense? So yeah, in general, it's just like, yeah, it's very, at least like as I said, online gaming, it's a very, very hectic, very competitive place, but still it's fun, and it's important just to move on. And yeah.
Yes, watch
Yes.
this interview because very useful information shared, right? And follow your presentation at Data Innovation Summit because more you will share there. But before that, can we know, according to you, what data analytics trends can we expect maybe in the next 12 months, let's say?
Yes. So of course, I don't know what are the trends are going to appear, but I have a hope that everything related to what is called causal inferences will become more and more used. So what it's all about? Because right now, probably you all know about, these days at least, about the chat GPT and AI, artificial intelligence. That's very great. That's cool. But the problem with all these technologies and a lot of kind of statistical analysis which is done is that it doesn't really look at the causes of the things. And the biggest question which at least we face is what was the reason, right? So let's say we developed a new feature or a new game and we see that the players do something, and the question is, what is the reason for that? And this is a much more difficult question to answer. So my hope, I don't know where it's all will go, but my hope is that this kind of causal analysis will become more and more used by people in the industry, because that's where the insights are.
Mm-hmm.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you once again for everything that you share with us at this talk, and for your time first for doing this interview, and see you in May in Stockholm.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.